Hi everybody, welcome to today's presentation, which is called How Do Items Work in QuickBooks? My name is Johnson-Thieme and I am a certified QuickBooks Pro advisor. Are you confused about items? You know, it took me a very long time to really get items. I'm going to show you the secret definition of items in QuickBooks that I formulated. We're going to discuss the items list in QuickBooks. This secret definition applies to all item types, including inventory part. However, inventory parts are treated differently by QuickBooks, and because of this, they are beyond the scope of this video. So what is the secret definition of items? You know, I was confused about them for so long. I researched them online, I called into it, I read books, and nobody could explain them in a way that made sense to me. A light dawned and I finally formulated a definition that made sense. So here's the big secret. Items are a way to post transactions to the chart of accounts. Can you believe how simple that is? That's all they are. They're just a way to post transactions to the chart of accounts. So I would like you to begin thinking of items as an intermediary step between you and the chart of accounts. Here's the tricky part. The accounts your items post to depend on two things. Number one, how the items are set up, and number two, which screens the items are used. Here we are in QuickBooks. Remember what I said a moment ago about the tricky part? I said that the accounts your items post to depend on two things. Number one, how the items are set up, and number two, on which screens they're used. Here's how to determine the first part, how the items are set up. I'd like to draw your attention to this column here, the one in the center called Account. For most item types that you will use on a day-to-day basis, this column represents the revenue account that the item points to. There are exceptions, but this is the general idea that I would like you to understand at this time. Now I'd like to draw your attention to the next column, which says COGS account. This column will pretty much always represent the COGS or expense account that the item posts to, if a COGS or expense account was chosen when the item was set up. Alright, so that's the first tricky thing, how to figure out which accounts your items post to. Now let's talk about the second tricky thing, which is understanding how the items work on the different screens. Let's look at this second item called Design. Notice that it's pointing to a revenue account called Landscaping Services with a sub-account of Design Services. To make it simple, we'll just call it Design Services. Also notice the COGS account column, which shows a COGS account called Cost of Goods Sold. When this particular item is used on a sales screen, such as the invoice screen, could also be the sales receipt screen or even the credit memo screen, it's going to post to this revenue account called Design Services. When this item is used on a purchase screen, such as the Enter Bill screen or the Write Check screen, it means that it's going to post to this COGS account here in this column, this Cost of Goods Sold account. Now let's look at this item here called Delivery. Notice that it's pointing to a revenue account called Service. Also notice that there is no COGS account for this item. That means that one was not chosen when the item was set up. Now when this particular item is used on the invoice screen, on the sales receipt screen, or in the credit memo screen, it's going to post to this account here in this column, this service account, which is a revenue account. When this item is used on the Write Check screen or the Enter Bill screen, it's not going to post to a COGS account or to an expense account because one was not chosen when the item was set up. Instead, it's going to post a debit to the service account. Okay, here's a quick recap of what we talked about today. The account column in the items list shows the revenue account. It is what is used for screens such as invoices, sales receipts, and credit memos. The COGS account column in the items list shows the COGS or expense account and is what is used for purchase screens such as enter bills, write checks, and vendor credits. If there is no account in the COGS account column, QuickBooks will post the transaction to the revenue account chosen in the account column. Please remember, these general guidelines don't always apply to every type of item, but this is the basic idea for many of the items you use on a day-to-day basis in QuickBooks. Inventory items are special and are handled differently from other types. Visit www.JenniferThieme.com for more help with QuickBooks.